Tonight, Daniel could not breathe. The glow from his laptop lit up the darkness of his small room. And on the screen, one word refused to disappear. Failed. His fingers trembled. Not because he had never failed before, but because in this house, failure was not just a mistake. It was a disgrace. Soft fade music. What Daniel didn't know was that this night had started long before the result appeared. It had started in a house where being a pastor's child meant living a life already decided. Sunday mornings at the church always felt like a celebration. Voices lifted in worship, drums echoed across the compound, and members walked in wearing their best clothes and their biggest smiles.
Thank you, Pastor. We are blessed.
At the center of it all stood Daddy G.O,
So excited.
a man loved by many, respected by all, and believed to be raising the perfect family. In the front row sat his children. Daniel, straight-backed, quiet, careful not to move too much. Zara, hands folded, eyes forward, already trained to sit like someone the world was watching. Because the world was watching. As Daddy G.O preached about discipline and godly homes, members nodded in agreement. Some even turned their heads toward Daniel and Zara. Not out of curiosity, but admiration. To them, these were not just children. They were proof that the pastor practiced what he preached. But admiration can feel heavy when you are the one carrying it. When the service ended, members gathered around Daddy G.O with smiles and praises. They spoke about his powerful sermon. They spoke about his strong leadership. And then, they spoke about his children. How blessed you are, sir, one woman said. Your children are so calm, so disciplined, so holy. Daniel smiled politely. Because that was what was expected. But inside, he wondered if anyone had ever asked whether he was calm or simply afraid to be anything else. Zara stood beside him, silent. She had learned early that pastors' children were not supposed to complain. The ride home was quiet. The sound of the engine filled the spaces where laughter should have been. Then Daddy G.O spoke. Not angrily. Not loudly. But firmly. He reminded Daniel that a pastor's son must always be ready to lead. Must always be strong. Must never show weakness. Daniel nodded. Because in this family, nodding was easier than explaining. That evening at dinner, the house felt peaceful on the surface. Plates moved. Water poured. Chairs creaked softly. And Zara gathered the courage she had been holding all day. She mentioned her school's upcoming drama production. She didn't even finish the sentence. Daddy G.O dismissed the idea immediately. Drama, he said, could expose her to worldly influences.
I can't believe
Better to
this.
focus on
What?
Bible study.
This is unacceptable.
Zara swallowed her words with her food. Because sometimes disappointment is easier to hide. When nobody is looking direct. LY at you. After that night, Zara pulled out her secret sketchbook. Inside were pages filled with colorful dress designs, bold
This isn't as
patterns,
good as I
and
thought.
dreams too big to
Think you
speak
try
aloud.
again.
She traced one drawing gently with her finger and whispered a question she had never dared to ask out loud. Why is being myself wrong? No answer came. Only silence. Across the hallway, Daniel sat surrounded by books, Bible notes, school assignments, youth fellowship plans. Every part of his life carefully arranged around expectations. He leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. Sometimes, he wondered who he would be if nobody expected anything from him. But wondering didn't change reality. Tomorrow, his exam results would be released. And tomorrow, he would still be the pastor's son. Family prayer, about their silent hearts. That night, the family knelt to pray. Daddy G.O asked God to make his children shining examples, to keep them from bringing shame. Daniel said amen. Zara said amen. But neither prayed for what they truly wanted. Freedom. Understanding. Permission to be human. Because they weren't sure heaven accepted those requests. School about Zara's loneliness. At school, Zara's reputation followed her like a shadow.
Why does she look so
Pastor's
sad?
daughter,
I heard she
classmates
failed the
whispered
test.
jokingly.
Maybe something happened at home.
They laughed. Zara laughed too. But loneliness has a way of sitting quietly, even in crowded places. Youth Fellowship about Daniel's fear. At Youth Fellowship, Daniel was asked to lead worship. The microphone felt heavier
hi
than
everyone.
fate. His voice
don't have
trembled.
much to say.
Someone
Sorry.
whispered that pastors' children should be naturally anointed. Daniel heard it. And in that moment, he didn't feel spiritual. He felt exposed. The result night about Daniel's secret. And now, we return to this night. The silent room. The glowing
I
laptop.
can't believe I failed.
The trembling breath.
What am I going to do now?
Daniel stared at the result again. Failed. Not just a grade. A threat. Because in his world, failure didn't stay private. Failure became family news. Church news.
I can't
Sermon
believe I
illustration.
failed. What will my
Daniel
parents
closed
say?
his eyes.
This is a disaster.
One thought filled the room
Daddy
louder
must
than
not
any
hear
prayer.
about this.
This
What
must
will
never
people
reach
say?
Daddy. Because in a home where perfection is expected, one mistake can feel like the beginning of collapse. And Daniel is about to learn that secrets inside a pastor's house never stay hidden for long.